You see, the reason most people quit is not because they're weak. It's not because they're lazy. It's because they forgot why they started. When the pain kicks in, when the dream feels distant, when the climb gets steep, they forget the fire that once pushed them to take that first step. And without that fire, the push dies. That's why you have to be rooted in your purpose. Your why has to be louder than your what. People chase money, titles, likes, approval, but that's surface level. That stuff doesn't wake you up at 5 a.m. That stuff doesn't keep you going after 20 rejections. That stuff doesn't make you get back up when life has knocked the air out of you. No purpose does that. Purpose makes you dangerous. Purpose makes you unshakable. When you know what you were born for, quitting starts to feel like betrayal, not just of the dream, but of yourself. I remember nights when I didn't want to keep going. Days when everything inside me said, just stop. Times when nothing around me looked like success. No lights, no applause, no breakthrough, just pressure. But I remember why I started. I remember the faces of the people I was doing this for. I remember the version of me that said, this is the life I want. And that was enough to keep pushing. See, when the vision gets blurry, you don't need a new plan. You need to reconnect with the reason. Your body will quit 100 times before your mind even gets a chance to speak. So you have to train your soul to speak louder than your struggle. You've got to talk to yourself when your circumstances stop talking to you. Because there will be seasons where the results are silent. Seasons where the scoreboard ain't moving. But that doesn't mean you're not growing. That doesn't mean your push is pointless. It means the process is working. It means the foundation is being laid. And the people who push through that silence, they're the ones who build what no one else could. Most people don't lose to failure. They lose to forgetfulness. They lose to distraction. They lose to comparison. You're watching other people win in their lane, and you're questioning your own assignment. Don't do that. Your purpose is custom made. Your path is not a copy-paste blueprint. It's yours. And it's sacred. That's why you can't afford to quit. You can't afford to play small. Somebody's watching you. Somebody's waiting on your breakthrough so they can believe theirs is possible. When you quit, you don't just shut down your own purpose, you suffocate the hope of the people tied to you. So dig deep. Go back to that first moment when the vision hit you. The goosebumps, the hunger, the tears, the voice that said, this is it. Go back to that. Let it anchor you. Let it speak louder than the noise around you. Let it remind you that this push isn't optional, it's necessary. Purpose makes you push past excuse. Purpose makes you push past fatigue. Purpose makes you look at fear and say, you can ride with me, but you can't drive. You're not pushing just for success. You're pushing for legacy. You're pushing to show your kids what resilience looks like. You're pushing so your last name means something. You're pushing because you know deep down you were made for more, and anything less than that will eat you alive. And let me be real, some of you are tired right now. Some of you are pushing on empty. I get it. But here's the truth. Your why can refill what your circumstances drain. If your reason is big enough, it will give you the fuel to crawl when you can't walk, to whisper, I'm not done yet, when your voice is cracking. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a cheering squad. You just need a reason that makes giving up feel like dying. That's the only way to survive the storm. That's the only way to enjoy the drought. You keep pushing because the reason hasn't changed. Even if the route has. And don't let anyone make you feel crazy for pushing something that hasn't happened yet. The dream was given to you, not them. They weren't in the room when God spoke it to you. They didn't see the vision. So don't expect them to understand the push. All they see is the surface. But you're carrying something deep, something sacred. And if you protect it, if you keep pushing, it will happen. Push it until it happens. You ever notice how people run when pain shows up? Like it's a sign that something's wrong. Like pain means stop. But what if I told you pain is the proof you're progressing? Yeah, I said it. The pain is not punishment, it's confirmation. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. You're not being buried, you're being built. You're not stuck, you're being stretched. See, too many of us have been conditioned to believe that comfort equals success. That if it hurts, we must have made a mistake. But you don't grow in comfort. You grow in pressure. You grow in pain. Muscles don't grow unless they're torn. Diamonds don't form without heat. Gold doesn't shine until it's been through fire. So what makes you think you're going to reach your next level without a little pain? Everybody wants transformation, but nobody wants the tension that comes with it. You want strength, but don't want soreness. You want purpose, but not the price. You want impact, but you don't want to sweat. Listen, there is no growth without grind. If you're feeling the pressure right now, good. That means something's working. That means something's moving. You're being called up to something bigger than where you've been. I remember a season where I was pushing so hard and nothing seemed to shift. I was grinding. I was giving everything. And still no progress, no applause, no reward. But I was hurting. And I started to think maybe I should back off. Maybe the pain meant it wasn't for me. But then I realized the pain was the process. It was proof I was getting closer. See, you don't feel pain in places you don't care about. You don't struggle with things that don't matter. That pain was trying to wake me up and say, keep going, you're close. Pain is the body's way of telling you something is changing. That means you're pushing past your limits. And that's exactly what it takes to go to the next level. If you can't handle a little discomfort, how are you going to handle the weight of your calling? If you can't endure the stretching, how are you going to carry the blessing? The pain ain't here to break you, it's here to shape you. But let me tell you what most people do. They back off. They say this hurts too much and they retreat. They fold. They shrink. And they miss out. Not because they weren't capable. Not because they weren't chosen. But because they weren't willing to feel it. You got to get to the point where you stop fearing the pain and start respecting it. You start seeing it as a partner, not an enemy. You understand that every rep, every rejection, every hard conversation, every tear shed behind closed doors, that's weight training. That's mental muscle. That's spiritual growth. And it doesn't feel good now, but you'll feel the pain later. Nobody talks about that. They want to show you the glow up, the end result. But what about the nights when you cry yourself to sleep because you're doing everything right, nothing's moving? What about the moments when your body is exhausted, your mind is overwhelmed, but your spirit still whispers, don't stop? That's the moment that separates winners from watchers. That's the moment that separates the ones who dream from the ones who do. I'm telling you right now, don't tap out just because it hurts. Lean into that pain. Let it teach you. Let it guide you. That pressure you feel, it's not punishment, it's preparation. You don't even know what kind of giant you're becoming while you're in the grind. But you'll never find out if you back down every time it burns. It's supposed to burn. It's supposed to be heavy. It's supposed to feel like too much. That's how you know you're growing. That's how you know you're getting stronger. You can't level up by staying the same. You can't reach new territory with old comfort. The price of elevation is pain, and the question is, are you willing to pay it? And I know what you're thinking. I don't know how much more I can take. But let me flip it for you. What if the pain you feel right now is the final layer before the breakthrough? What if the struggle you're pushing through is the exact thing unlocking your next season? Would you keep going then? Would you keep fighting if you knew how close you were? This is the part of the journey nobody prepares you for. The lonely grind, the silent season, the days when you give your all and feel like you're getting nothing in return. But trust me, the pain is not in vain. It's doing work on you that can't be seen yet. It's working in the dark to prepare you for the light. So don't just push when it's easy. Push when it's excruciating. Push when your legs are shaking, when your voice is trembling, when your heart is heavy. Because that's when it matters the most. You've come too far to stop here. You've invested too much to quit now. Let the pain remind you you're not where you used to be. You're being refined. You're being tested. You're being built into someone who can handle everything you've been praying for. So feel it. Embrace it. Respect it. Because that pain you're pushing through is the path to your power. Push it until it happens that you ever wake up in the morning and feel absolutely nothing. No fire. No drive. No motivation. You just stare at the ceiling like, what's the point? Yeah, I've been there. And let me tell you something real. You won't feel like it every day. There will be mornings when the alarm goes off and everything in your body says, stay down. There will be days when the dream feels so far away it starts to feel fake. That's when most people stop. That's when most people start negotiating with their potential. But here's the truth, you don't need to feel like it to do it. Discipline is greater than motivation. Discipline is what gets results when feelings don't show up. Motivation is cool when it's there, but it's fragile. It fades. It depends on the weather, on your mood, on the lights, on the environment. But discipline don't care if it's raining. Discipline don't care if you're tired. Discipline don't care if you've been hurt. Discipline says, we said we do it, so we're doing it. Period. Some of y'all are waiting for the right time to feel inspired. You're waiting for a moon to carry you. But winners don't wait their work. Champions don't let emotions decide their effort. You think every great athlete, every top performer, every game changer in this world feels like showing up every day? Absolutely not. But they do it anyway. Why? Because they made a decision, and discipline honors this decision long after the emotion that made them is gone. That's why I keep showing up when I'm tired, when I'm overlooked, when I'm doubted. I show up. I put the work in. I don't rely on hype. I don't need a crowd. I don't need a perfect morning routine. I've trained myself to do it because it needs to be done. That's the difference. You got to stop being emotionally loyal to comfort and start being committed to your calling. There is no breakthrough without consistency. I'm telling you now, your goals don't care how you feel. Your dreams don't care about your excuses. Your purpose isn't waiting on your motivation, it's waiting on your discipline. The grind don't need to be glamorous. Sometimes the grind is ugly. Sometimes it's silent. Sometimes it's slow, but it's always necessary. You think success shows up on your schedule? No. Success shows up for the one who keeps knocking, keeps swinging, keeps pushing even when they're not in the mood. You want to know why some people seem like they're always ahead? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's that they keep doing it. They don't pause their progress just because they're having a bad day. They don't wait for the stars to align. They grind on rainy days. They grind when no one's watching. They show up when the excitement is gone because they understand this ain't about feeling good. This is about being great. And being great is a decision you make every single day. Not when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. The hard days count double. The days you don't feel like it, but you push through, that's what builds you. That's where the gap is created. Because most people fold on those days. Most people let the mood win. But not you. Not anymore. From this day forward, your actions are no longer controlled by how you feel. They're controlled by what you believe. I don't work because I'm motivated. I work because I'm committed. I work because I know what's on the other side of the discipline. I've seen what happens when you stay consistent. Doors open. Opportunities come, momentum builds, but only for those who refuse to stop showing up. Every day you show up, you're planting something. You may not see the results yet, but something is growing in the dark. And you better believe what you water in discipline, you will harvest in greatness. You can't cheat this. You can't cut corners. There's no shortcut for consistency. You got to make the decision to push regardless. When you're tired, push. When you're discouraged, push. When you feel stuck, push. When you're feeling, say, not today, you say, I made a promise. Because that's what discipline does. It keeps promises that motivation would have broken. Stop chasing the feeling. Start chasing the result. Because discipline will take you places motivation can't even see. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline will take you across the finish line. And the best part, the more disciplined you become, the less you'll need to feel ready. You'll stop depending on vibes and start trusting your habits. And let me say this too. Don't beat yourself up when you don't feel like it. That's normal. But don't use it as an excuse either. Train your mind, rewire your thinking. Tell yourself, I don't have to feel it, I just have to follow through. And then do it. Over and over and over until it becomes second nature. That's how beasts are built. That's how warriors are formed. That's how legacies are made. So yeah, there will be days when you don't feel like pushing. When the weight is heavy, when your body is screaming, your mind is foggy, and everything in you wants to hit snooze on life. But those are the days that define you. Those are the days that separate the average from the great. Those are the days that echo into your future. You got the dream. You got the vision. Now get the discipline to match it. Push it until it happens. I know it's frustrating when you've been pushing and pushing and nothing seems to be moving. You've been putting in the hours, doing the work, showing up, staying committed, and it still hasn't happened yet. And now the doubt starts creeping in, right? You start asking yourself questions like, am I doing something wrong? Am I wasting my time? Listen to me, delay doesn't mean denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You've got to understand this. The process is not always on your schedule. You can't microwave greatness. You can't rush something that's being built to last. Yeah, you can go out and get something quick, but it won't be real. It won't be sustainable. The real stuff, that takes time, that takes pressure, that takes faith. You've got to be willing to push even when the reward doesn't show up right away. You see, the problem with most people is that they mistake waiting for wasting. But those aren't the same thing. Waiting is part of winning. Every seed goes through a season where it's buried before it breaks through. But while it's buried, it's still becoming. You hear what I'm saying? Just because you don't see the results doesn't mean the results aren't forming. Some of the greatest transformations happen in the dark. Some of the most powerful growth happens in silence. And I get it. It's hard to keep pushing when you're not getting the outcome. It's hard to keep showing up when it feels like nobody's watching. But that's the test. That's what most people lose. They're doing all the right things, but they give up too soon because the results didn't come on their timeline. They don't realize that right when it feels like nothing's happening, everything is happening. You've got to hold the vision even when the evidence says otherwise. You've got to believe in the purpose even when the plan isn't clear. You've got to remind yourself that delay is not rejection, it's refinement. It's maturity. It's preparation. Sometimes the delay is because you're not just being positioned for the opportunity, you're being prepared to handle it when it shows up. Because let me tell you, there's nothing worse than getting the opportunity you prayed for and not being ready. Some delays are actually protection. You think you're waiting on a dream, but the dream is waiting on you to grow into the version of yourself that can carry it. That business, that platform, that influence, that legacy is coming, but if you get it too soon, it could crush you. So don't curse the delay. Respect it. Use it. Build in it. This is the part people don't talk about, the grind that goes unnoticed, the sacrifices that no one claps for, the months, the years of pouring everything into something that still hasn't turned into a return. But I'm telling you, if you can keep pushing through this season, if you can outlast the delay, you'll enter rooms other people gave up on. You'll reap harvest that others walked away from. You think because it's taking longer, it's not meant to be. No, anything worth building takes time. You want quick or do you want quality? You want temporary hype or long-term impact? You got to choose. See, most people give up in the not yet. That space between belief and breakthrough, between effort and evidence, that's where the quit happened, but not you. You've got to get into your spirit. I'm going to keep pushing even if it takes longer than I thought. Even if I have to cry while I grind. Even if nobody else understands the vision. Even if I have to walk this part alone. You're not doing all this for nothing. You're not sacrificing sleep, ignoring distractions, staying disciplined just to come up empty. No, you're laying bricks. You're building something solid. But solid takes time. Solid takes silence. Solid takes storms. And if you can push through the delay, you'll step into something unshakable. That's why I'm telling you, don't quit in the almost. Don't walk away just because it didn't happen this year. I don't get discouraged because other people are moving faster. Their pace is not your purpose. Their speed is not your measure. Stay in your lane. Run your race. Water your seed. Because when your season hits, when your time comes, it's going to make sense. It's going to be worth it. You're going to look back and realize that delay wasn't the end. It was a setup. Every no you heard, every door that didn't open, every time you got overlooked, it was building something in you. Patience, strength, endurance. It was preparing your character to match your calling. That's why the delay had to happen. Because what you're stepping into isn't normal. It's not average. It's purpose-driven. And purpose doesn't rush. Purpose develops. So if you're in that season right now where you're pushing and nothing is breaking, don't let it break you. Don't assume the silence means you're not winning. Don't mistake slow progress for no progress. You've come too far. You've sacrificed too much. You've grown too strong to give up just because the timeline is longer than expected. You've got to be willing to look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't see it yet, but I believe it's already mine. I don't have it in my hands, but I've got it in my spirit. I will not stop. I will not fold. I will not let delay rob me of my destiny. Pushing until it happens. That you ever notice how everybody's got a lot to say when you start moving different? When you start separating yourself. When you stop showing up to every hangout. When you stop entertaining distractions. When you stop playing small, suddenly everybody's got an opinion. And here's what I need you to understand. Not everyone is built to go where you're going. Not everybody's supposed to come with you. Some people were only meant for the level you're leaving. See, when you start leveling up, your circle is going to get smaller. That's normal. Growth demands separation. You can't elevate and stay tied to everything and everyone that kept you comfortable. There's a cost to growth, and part of that cost is walking away from what's no longer serving you. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you think you're better. It means you're serious. It means you're locked in. It means you've decided that your purpose is worth the price. I'm not saying cut people off just to cut them off. But you've got to get real about this. Some people are not pushing you forward. Some people are draining you, distracting you, keeping you stuck in cycles you said you would break it. You keep trying to take everybody with you, and it's slowing you down. You're trying to carry weight that ain't yours anymore. You've got to be bold enough to say, I love you, but I can't stay here. Everybody can't handle your next level. You've got to protect your energy. You've got to protect your focus. You've got to protect your mind. Because when you're pushing for something great, every ounce of your energy matters. You can't be surrounding yourself with small talk when you're building something big. You can't be around doubt when you're trying to walk in faith. You can't be around fear when you're chasing purpose. You're trying to fly with people who are scared of heights. That's why it feels so heavy. That's why your progress feels like a struggle, because you're dragging people who weren't meant to go. This is the season where you've got to release. You've got to let go so you can grow. You can't take flight holding on to things that keep you grounded. And I get it, sometimes the hardest thing to do is walk away from familiar to outgrow people you love. But let me ask you this, do you want comfort or do you want calling? Do you want popularity or purpose? Because sometimes choosing your future means losing some familiarity. Sometimes choosing alignment means embracing isolation. Sometimes destiny demands distance. People will say you've changed. Good, that's the goal. Growth is change. Elevation is change. Don't shrink just to make others feel safe. Don't apologize for wanting more. Don't water down your vision to make it digestible for people who don't have the appetite for greatness. You weren't born to fit in. You were born to break barriers, to shift atmospheres, to lead movements. But to do that, you've got to make peace with the fact that not everyone will understand. That's okay. They don't have to understand it. They didn't get the vision. You did. They weren't there when you cried at night, wondering if it was worth it. They weren't there when you picked yourself back up after failure. They weren't there when you had to pray just to find strength to make the next step. So don't expect them to celebrate something they never helped build. Stop waiting for permission to walk in your assignment. Stop asking people to validate what God already confirmed. You don't need approval to prove powerful. You don't need applause to be anointed. Walk boldly. Walk purposefully, even if it means walking alone for a while. Why? Because solitude with purpose is better than company with confusion. When I was grinding, there were seasons where I had nobody cheering, no one clapping, no one calling to check on me. And I learned you don't need a crowd to be called. You don't need a circle to have conviction. I kept showing up. I kept pushing. I kept building even when it was just me. And guess what? That's when the foundation was laid. That's when the roots grew deep. Because sometimes isolation isn't punishing preparation. It's where your character gets built. It's where your resilience gets tested. You're not being abandoned, you're being aligned. The separation is strategic. It's clearing the space so you can focus. It's creating silence so you can hear what matters. It's removing noise so you can move with clarity. And if you're willing to embrace that, if you're willing to let go of the people, patterns, and places that are keeping you stuck, you'll unlock a level of freedom and fire that can't be stopped. You don't owe anyone comfort at the cost of your calling. You don't owe anyone access just because they've history with you. Everybody who was with you in your last chapter is not assigned to your next. And the faster you accept that, the faster you'll start moving. The faster the weight will lift. The faster your vision will become clear. Some of you are stuck not because you lack potential, but because you're too loyal to old patterns. Too loyal to people who were only meant to walk a portion of the road. They were a season, not a lifetime. And when you confuse seasonal people with lifetime roles, you get stuck in delays you were never meant to endure. So stop explaining, stop waiting, stop holding on to what's pulling you backward. This is your moment to rise. This is your season to go higher. And to get there, you got to release what no longer aligns. Push it until it happens. That everybody loves the spotlight, but nobody talks about the shadows. Everybody wants the outcome, but they don't want the process. Everybody wants to post the highlight reel, but nobody wants the family behind the scenes. And that's where the real work happens. That's where the transformation takes place. Not when people are clapping for you, but when nobody even knows your name yet. Not when you're winning, but when you're being stretched. When you're struggling. When you're questioning whether any of this even matters. See, the journey, the real journey is built in the silence. It's not glamorous. It's not pretty, it's messy, it's raw, and it will test every part of who you are. It's in those lonely moments when you got no applause, no recognition, and no confirmation, but you keep going anyway. That's the part people skip over. They think purpose feels good all the time. They think destiny shows up with a red carpet and cheering fans. Now, purpose shows up with pressure, with pain, with problems, and still you've got to choose to keep going. You've got to be willing to fight through the stuff people don't post about. The tears, the rejection, the fear, the self-doubt battle, the internal battles that no one sees but you face every single day. You're trying to build something that doesn't exist yet. And that takes a different kind of strength, a different kind of vision, a different kind of persistence. And that's why the journey is not for the weak. That's why it requires more than motivation. It requires heart. See, people don't talk about how hard it is to keep pushing when you've got no proof it's working. They don't talk about what it feels like to give your all and still not see results. They don't talk about how painful it is to outgrow who you used to be. Because growth hurts. It stretches you. It pulls at your insecurities. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself you used to hide. But that pain, that's where the power lies. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. Every setback, every disappointment, every obstacle is shaping you. It's sharpening you. It's teaching you how to fight for what you believe in. And it's giving you the strength to carry the weight of what's coming. Because what you're building isn't small. What you're birthing isn't average. And anything extraordinary will demand extraordinary resilience. This is why you can't stop. This is why you can't settle. This is why quitting is not an option. Because if you stop now, you'll never see what was waiting on the other side of your struggle. You'll never experience the reward of staying the course. And they tell you the reward. There's breakthrough. There's peace. There's power. There's purpose. But it only comes to those who keep pushing through the pressure. And let me keep it real, there will be days when you feel like you're breaking. But what if I told you the breaking is actually the becoming? What if I told you the breaking is part of the building? See, a seed has to break open before it grows. A muscle has to tear before it gets stronger. A diamond only forms under pressure. And you're being developed in the dark so you can shine in the light. But you've got to go through all of it. Not just the easy parts, not just the wins. You've got to endure the discomfort. You've got to walk through the confusion. You've got to survive the silence. And most of all, you've got to keep showing up. Every single day. Even it seems to me when it seems like everyone else is moving ahead and you're still grinding in the shadows. Show up anyway. Keep writing, keep building, keep practicing. Keep praying. Keep working. Because it's all adding up. It's all preparing you for a moment you haven't even seen yet. You think you're being delayed. No, you're being developed. And when that door opens, when the spotlight hits, when the opportunity finally arrives, you're going to be ready. You're going to be so solid, so sharp, so sure of who you are that nothing will be able to shake you. Not the critics, not the pressure, not even success itself. See, this journey is teaching you how to hold it. Not just get it, but hold it. Because what's the point of getting a dream if you haven't built the discipline to sustain it? What's the point of walking through the door if your character ain't strong enough to stay inside? That's why it's hard right now. That's why it feels like a fight. Because the journey is building you for what the dream requires. So don't rush it. Don't shortcut it. Don't run from it. Embrace it. Every hard day, every lonely night, every silent season is part of the process. And the process is preparing the promise. I know it doesn't feel like it right now. I know some days you question if any of it's worth it, but I promise you it is. The pain is not in vain. The tears are not wasted. The sacrifice is not unseen. You're not alone in this. And you're not crazy for believing in something that's deep. You're not foolish for chasing something they can't see. You're chosen. You're called. And the pressure you're under right now is proof that purpose is on your life. So don't quit. Don't fold. Don't stop. Push it until it happens.